Hello again, race fans, and welcome. It's the NORA Truck Series 2023 here live, iRacing on VirtualRacing.Network. It's from the Gateway Oval. That's right, the Worldwide Technology Raceway. 1.25 mile oval, unlike any other really. It's egg-shaped and a whole lot of fun, and it's all the NORA Truck Series 2023, presented by Abby's Sweet Treats Home Bakery. It's season number 5, race 12. We're ready to go here from Gateway. 55 laps in the first stage, 110 in the second, 116 laps in the third. And once again, it is so great to be with you here as we get all set for some awesome action here tonight. And of course, I get to welcome in my good friend and Mr. NORA himself, Christian Snyder, into the booth. And hello again, Christian. Welcome. And tonight we're going to have a lot of fun here at Gateway. Hopefully it's going to be a great race, a little different, hopefully, than the Cup race that we saw last week. But what do we have to expect here from Gateway?
Well, first of all, Mr. NORA, I like that name. But yeah, this track is the most unique on the schedule that we go to. I mean, you got a downshift in 1 and 2, which that's going to possibly cause some issues. Some drivers not being used to that. I mean, you can see how narrow that 1 and 2 is on the right side there. You gotta wheel that thing through 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 kind of feels like a New Hampshire type corner where you just let it roll. So I love this track. I always have. Never won here, but it's a great track either way. And from what I'm hearing from all the drivers, it's a lot better than the Cup cars, so it's going to be a great race.
Well, and of course, should they have any difficulties out there, iRacing this week releasing the new damage model, which is pretty exciting stuff. So we'll get a chance to see some of these trucks torn apart in ways that we've never seen before, and that should be a lot of fun as well.
Oh, absolutely. It's always fun to see trucks torn up, according to Tony Stewart.
Well, either way, we hope they can all stay on the track and going around tonight. A lot of fun here at Gateway when it gets rolling, and some of the long green flag stints. It's a lot of fun to see the strategy come out. Of course, here tonight, another strategy that will be out there and in play. 113 degrees on the track. Again, different than last week with the Cup Series. It was 127 degrees Fahrenheit, which just made it super greasy. Here tonight, 10-mile-an-hour breeze. That's not going to affect too much, and pretty dry. So really, totally different conditions, and we'll get to see who can put down a great race strategy. But, you know, last week, it wasn't about race strategy. It was all about being in the right place at the right time. As unfortunately, you know, it's probably not the type of finish that you want to talk about, but Tyler Dixon and coming through, I mean, it's exciting, but at the same time, Christian, I know one of your drivers, Slauson, was in position to win that race, and it took out several other drivers coming to the line. But Tyler Dixon being in the right place at the right time, being patient, he took victory, and that was some exciting stuff.
Yeah, it was definitely an exciting finish last week, and like you said, one of my drivers was unfortunately in the lead coming out of 4 and did not win, but he's still saying he's got nightmares, reoccurring nightmares every night of that. So I think it's just gonna, I think it's gonna push him a little harder the rest of the season to get that win because he was so close. So, but yeah, Tyler Dixon locking himself into the playoffs with only, I think, 4 or 5 races left. That means Cody Reeder's on the outside looking in now after Tyler Dixon's win.
That is some interesting stuff, and you know Cody Reeder has had a lot of speed in both the trucks and the Cup Series, and just not able to put it together yet. As well, oddly enough, Sean Briscoe, even though he is in, not able to put it together on wins. So it's kind of shocking some of these drivers not having it together on wins yet, but we look for that to happen at any point. Here's Brian Jones, who puts in his time, and speaking of last week's front-running driver there at the end, unfortunately, he did not end up taking the victory. Todd Slauson putting in his first lap as well, and that's good enough for 10th fastest. So a lot of these drivers already completing that lap and putting their times up there on the board as we're well underway with qualifying here. Brian Jones, as you saw on your screen, putting up the top time thus far. Not a shocker. Seeing Briscoe there in second, Tim Harper in third, and David McGuire getting in
a little bit of trouble there. Might have hit the bump in 3 and 4 there and shot up the track, but yeah, definitely not how you want to run your first lap there, and that's probably going to disallow his time for the rest of the qualifying event. As we see now, Torn Shirts trying to put down his lap. Here he comes in at 3 and 4. Let's see how he runs it. He's going to go in the middle lane here and then drop it down low on exit. This is a good line. Typically, I like to enter low and exit high, but that was a pretty good line for him. Let's see where it slots him. And 7th.
That'll put him into 7th. Yeah, a great run for him so far. It's a good place to qualify, and I fortunately had a good race here this last weekend in the Indy cars, and but it sure does race different in IndyCar than it does in a truck. Yeah. But a lot of the similarities are there. You really do have to watch over the long runs, making sure that you don't get that right rear overheated. You don't overheat coming off of turn 4. It's a delicate balance coming here through turns 3 and 4 as well. You got to make sure you get it just right.
Yeah, and you can hear right there, Brad Fulham, that's going to be something all night. He shifted coming out of turn 2. All these trucks are going to be shifting in 1 and 2 here. And now as he goes through 3 and 4, you're not going to hear that shifting because there's no need to. A lot higher speeds and a lot flatter, so you don't really need to shift here. We're going to see where the Full Said Motorsports number 91 of Brad slots himself in here. And that will be 18th place, it looked like.
Only good enough.
So not a great lap.
No, unfortunately, not for him, but good enough that he gets qualified ahead of some. Jacob Gladelich getting in his time. Of course, he's already managed to punch his ticket. So let's go ahead and take a look as everybody seems to have gotten in their times. We'll go ahead and bounce over, excuse me, and we'll take a look here at the current driver's points. There you go. You see it on your screen. And the ones in yellow have punched their ticket due to race wins. And you see that cutoff line after 10 drivers. So Sean Briscoe, Timmy Harper, basically if you add this up, there's only 3 driver slots remaining for getting in on points after you get through Sean Briscoe, Timmy Harper, and Torrance Shirts. That is your top 10. So everybody lower than that, as you said, Cody Reeder, Mark Bremkamp, Todd Slauson, Brad Fulham, Cody Dorsey. A lot of these drivers looking to get in still, and they're going to be fighting to either get a win or get some great points here tonight and punch their ticket into the playoffs here coming up very soon. Here's the Season 5 owner points for the NORA Truck Series 2023 after 11 races. It's still pretty much the same thing at the top 6. Nothing has changed at all. You take a look a little bit further back. BS Motorsports able to get up into that, and Full Send actually dropping back a position. KPR jumping up a little bit, and Harper also jumping up with the number 18 machine. And so with that, we're going to get a chance to say hello to the sweetest part of the NORA Truck Series of all. It's Abby's Sweet Treats Home Bakery. That's right, great cookies that you can see there on your screen. You got chocolate chip. You've got all kinds of cool ones. Again, she posts brand new ones over on her Facebook each and every week, so make sure to get over there. But it's not just the cookies. You've got Oreo pie. You've got brownies, cake pops. There is Abby, and of course she has a SRX shirt on in that photo. You just can't see, wasn't formatted the way that I could get everything on the screen. There is the phone number if you want to reach her that way, 812-264-1624. Order a dozen or 2 or 3 or 10 and get them sent out from Plymouth, Minnesota, abcobb@gmail.com. It's on Pinterest, Facebook, and Twitter and Instagram, and that is the way to roll, let me tell you. So with that, let's go ahead and jump over and check out tonight's starting grid for round number 12 from Gateway. And starting on pole will be a very familiar sight. It is Brian Jones. He's right up there in the points lead. Starting next to him will be Sean Briscoe. On the second row, Tim Harper and Eric Sable. Cody Reeder, remember, he still needs a win to get into this playoffs. Martin Plute starting alongside. Josh Conover in that fourth row alongside Torrin Schertz. In the fifth row, Jacob Gladelich and Ronnie Norman. In the sixth row, Jason Conover. We see a truck. I don't know if he's just coming out of the pits, but Jason Conover and Christopher Heights. Go ahead eventually. There we go. Mark Bremkamp will be starting next to Nick Geilis. Todd Slauson next to Cody Dorsey, Dylan Walterman, and Brad Fulham. In 19th, Andrew Stab and Craig Schroeder. Todd Schneider will be starting next to Zach Hollinger and David McGuire, and that will complete your grid here for Gateway. So with that, the pace car is in, and we are about ready to go here, Christian. Flag is in hand, and we are underway for round number 12.
Yeah, here we go. We got a good jump on the outside lane, actually. Believe that Sean Briscoe outside of Brian Jones going to take the lead off of Brian here.
Fantastic start for Briscoe. That's just unbelievable stuff. Very quick jump up there on the start, able to take over the lead. And you can see Brian Jones there staying nice and close, but that was a heck of a jump that Briscoe got on that start.
Yeah, when people have those type of jumps, you got to ask, though, was it too good? Is the NORA officials going to look at that and say, I think you jumped it, and possibly penalize them? We'll have to see what the outcome is going to be, because it looks like he was ahead of them for quite a bit here.
This is a
replay, he takes off.
And it does look like he is the first one to cross the line, and according to our software, he might have been across a little bit early, but either way, that is up to the administration to take a look at it. They have access to all the telemetry, and they're able to make the correct decision. But either way, there is Sean Briscoe out front from Fair Oaks, California. You know, Briscoe, hey, he's out there in front because he needs a win just like Slauson and Reeder do.
Yeah, he hasn't won yet this season. He could point himself in, but if three other drivers win, then he's out. So he has to essentially get that ticket punched now, or within the next 3 or 4 races here in a short period of time.
So looking a little bit further back, there's Gladelich just ahead of Cody Dorsey and Nick Geilis. You see Geilis now coming through, that's Dorsey coming through in the 38 for Harper Motorsports. These two now racing side by side down the front straight, and that is for 13th position. So Geilis doing a nice job for Nightmare Motorsports, able to get through in that position. Back up front, still racing really hard between these two, Briscoe and Jones.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like a penalty has been handed down, so the NORA official said it was a clean start. And the reason we saw Nick make that move, he made a really great crossover move. But we're hopping on board here with Eric Sable running pretty good. He is a driver that's already locked into the championship. 10, I believe it is this year. 10 drivers make it in. So he's locked in already. He doesn't need to win, but this man loves to win, so he's going to try tonight.
And here we go, side by side into turn 3 and 4, all within eye shot of Eric Sable, who's just sitting there waiting for these two to make a mistake. He'll be able to push on through, but that's not likely with these two. Brian Jones and Sean Briscoe, they've been up there at the top end of the points this entire season, and here they go side by side down into turn 1 and 2. This is a dangerous place to try to get through, but it looks like Brian Jones able to just squeeze through.
Wiggle.
A big ol' wiggle there, and that's going to allow Sable to get there. And that was another thing I was going to mention. This track, trying to make a pass into 1 and 2 is easier said than done. It's a very, very tricky corner in 1 and 2 to be able to hold that momentum through the corner. And there you can see Jones really, he clipped the nose right off of Sable.
What a save, though. Great save by Eric Sable. And to further talk about what you're talking about, side by side in 1 and 2, it takes all the air off the truck on the bottom and gets them so loose. And that's what we saw happen to Brian Jones. He got loose, had to correct, and it allowed Eric Sable to work on his outside. And then in 3 and 4, Sable was on Jones's outside, and it got Jones a little loose again. So that's going to be something to look at all night.
That is absolutely true. These trucks, just very delicate on their lines coming through the corner. You've got to keep it on an exact line to make it work and get the right acceleration off of the corner. If you take any sort of change to what is the perfect line through the corner, you will suffer dramatically, and as well, it's going to give another driver a chance to close the door on you and make you have to take a little bit of evasive action. There's Martin Plute for Blade Timmons Racing in that number 2 Ford, and currently holding on. He's gained a spot just in front of Josh Conover, who has also gained a spot here tonight. And we were just talking about Cody Reeder and what he needs to do here, but he's dropped a couple of spots. He's now running at the tail end of this group, so he's got some work to do, but he does seem to have Josh Conover in his sights at the moment.
Yeah, I talk to Josh almost on a daily, and today I was talking about tonight's race, and he said if he had to pick someone to be favorite, he said Cody Reeder, just based on his situation and how good he is at this track. But as we see, battle for the lead, Brian Jones underneath Sean Briscoe again. He's going to try it again here in 1 and 2.
And Briscoe trying to hold that outside line as Brian Jones plugs it in 1 and 2, and he's going to drift a little bit high. That's going to give him the arc that he needs to get through the corner and hold on to that position. So move Brian Jones back up to the point. Here comes Briscoe again. He's not done with leading this race. He's going to throw it in turns 3 and 4. So we've got a scrap for the lead here at Gateway, as we're just now working on lap number 10, heading into 11. There they are, side by side past the flag stand.
Yeah, and he's not going to complete the pass on the front stretch, but what that move does is it allows him to have the preferred line here in 1 and 2. So he's going to be on the bottom here, but Brian Jones does a great job defending and will continue to lead this race here and clears Sean Briscoe.
Fantastic stuff from these two, but Brian Jones getting the better of this battle, able to clear by about 3 or 4 truck lengths at this point. So he's showing his mastery of a very tricky track for these trucks, and yet it's no surprise that this is one of the drivers who's already punched his ticket. He's won here in the NORA Truck Series. He's already getting into the playoffs, and he leads the points, and he's been doing so for pretty much the whole season. Despite not coming through and winning every single week, he's continued to stay consistent and have great finishes, and you can see exactly why, as this is still a very tight battle. Brian Jones, Sean Briscoe, just 0.35 seconds back. Eric Sable just 0.4 of a second back. Timothy Harper just 0.3, and Josh Conover setting back here just another 0.2 back, and perhaps he'll give another shot to Tim Harper.
You know, I absolutely love stirring the pot whenever I get a chance. Do you think if Eric Sable gets up to Brian Jones, he might not be too happy about the move that he pulled on him in 3 and 4 a couple laps ago? Or do you think I'm stretching there?
Well, we're going to see in just a moment. We've certainly had our share of some I'm not too happy with what you did there sort of moves in this league. But here we can see Reeder now getting a strong challenge from Martin Plute, who has now dropped back a spot. Reeder's actually gained that spot on Plute, so now move Reeder up into that 6th position. And as we look further forward, this is still a very tight battle between Eric Sable and Tim Harper.
And Josh Conover peeking his nose there in behind Tim Harper now. So Josh Conover may be a threat for the podium tonight here before long.
Well, Conover, honestly, always a threat to,
He is.
I mean, it doesn't matter where he's at whatever point of the race. Conover, much like Briscoe or, Vincent Arthur when he's behind the wheel, definitely, a potential race winner that can come through at any point. Taking a look back, though, we do want to send our shout out to Brady Moats, who might be with us in the chat room. I don't know. Gladelich checking in with us, giving us the high five, and good to see you out there on the track trying to get it done out there. Everybody else, feel free to check in with us. Let us know if you're out there and if you're watching. But for those of you that are Brady Moats fans, he had a problem last week that actually affected him with his knees while he was racing. And so hopefully he's been able to get that iced and deal with that. I haven't heard any further update on that, but part of the NORA family, and certainly we wish him well in his recovery from that incident. But difficult stuff for Brady Moats, and again, hopefully we'll get a chance to see him out there again tomorrow night.
Yeah, we've talked about it multiple times this season that you can get hurt doing this. You may not be physically in a car, but there is a lot of work you got to do with the pedals, the wheels. Sometimes the wheel can snap out of your hand and hurt your wrist. What happened with Brady, essentially he got onto the brakes a little too hard, too quickly, and partially tore something in his leg. So that's a product of something that happens when you have too much brake pressure in your brake pedals.
So, well, hopefully he's managed to adjust that, and just still really unfortunate stuff for one of the good racers here in the league. And, it's not trying to do anything other than go out there and be competitive. And,
exactly,
but it's also like these force feedback wheels, same thing, where as we watch this battle rage on now with Tim Harper, he was up there trying to race Eric Sable, and now here comes Josh Conover.
It looks like he's going to get the job done. He had a great run into the corner. He's going to try to slide up on Tim, and will. That was a great slide job move by Josh Conover, and he will now take fourth place and look toward taking down Eric Sable for third.
So great run here from Conover, who now has moved up 3 spots on this race so far. And so he's already up into fourth place, quickly moving ahead, but you can't really take anything away from what these two have done. It's Briscoe who managed to get the better of Jones for a couple of laps, but since then it's been all Brian Jones, and he's now moved out to almost an 0.8 of a second lead. Christian, why don't you take us around here? We'll jump on board with Brian, and you can talk us through what it's like to run here at Gateway.
Oh, it's so fun to run here at Gateway. And you can see Brian Jones kind of has a unique line here. What he's doing, he's running the top in 1 and 2, or maybe not necessarily the top, but like that middle lane. What you're going to see at this track is there's a really shiny, bright kind of sealant that they put on this track to seal over some cracks. And if you get on that, that's a lot of grip there. So you want to try to get your left side tires or right side tires on it to grip through 1 and 2. You'll see it here. It almost looks like there's a white patch right there in the corner. So that's what you want your tires to be on, to have that extra grip. And that was a pretty good lap there by Brian Jones. He pulled away from Sean Briscoe by about a 10th there, but Briscoe running a different line than him. He's actually running lower on the track than Brian Jones at the moment. As now he changes it up as I say that.
And we have a note here that it looks like Geilis is off on the backstretch. That's Nick Geilis for Nightmare Motorsports, who has now popped into the pits, and the yellow flag does not come out. Let's take a look at what happened to Geilis. Looks like this was coming through, I think that's 3 and 4? No, it's 1 and 2. And so just coming out of 2, Geilis has a big problem exiting the corner. We'll see if we can tell a little bit sooner. He's running very high through 1 and 2 here. I'm wondering if maybe he just was... I mean, you see how high he is. It's not like you can't go that high, but you can see he was already losing ground.
Yeah.
And there he
Looks like it just stepped out and he got loose. His original plan, he wasn't even going to run those 22 laps because he was supposed to race control. So I'm sure that's what he's going to do now. He's just going to take it behind the wall and race control the rest of the race. But the original plan was for him to start and park in race control. So, yeah, he will be up here in the booth next to us for the rest of the night.
Yeah, we can wave at him.
You
And
can see him over there. Yeah,
yeah, of course. As soon as we get Guyless up here, he'll be eating his popcorn and chicken wings as usual, doing his administrative duties with his feet up. Here's Brian Jones out there on the track, getting it done. This is what he does best, running up front. And you know, what more can be said? He's when he's in control of the car and he's up front, you take any dominant driver that you've ever seen in any league, and that's who Brian Jones is. You know, if you're one of these competitors to him in this league, the last thing you want to see is Brian Jones in P1, because it's going to be really, really tricky to get up there and come through. But either way, this guy's done a lot here too. Sean Briscoe, he stayed strong in this league, and if it weren't for that pesky Brian Jones, he would win many of these races. But Briscoe for Capital Motor Club has been doing a lot, and he is running a strong second here tonight. We look to see what can happen over the long run, but still a very, very long ways to go here. Of course, our first stage will be at lap number 55. We're still 30 laps away from that, so we should see some pit stops before we hit that stage.
Well, from what I was talking with a couple of the drivers, as we see Sean Briscoe really loose there. He saves it, though. But what I was talking with the other drivers, you might not have to pit. You can get about 55 laps on fuel, so it's really close. So there might be some people that stay out and stretch it. There could be some people that try to split this in half. So, like you said before the race started, a lot of strategy is going to come in play tonight.
So much strategy yet to come. These tires just really starting to fall off. If they're going to fall off, they'll fall off a certain amount, and eventually they'll stabilize. But here's a great battle happening right now. This is for P9 on the track. Mark Bremkamp and Jason Conover, they've been going at this for several laps, and they are running side by side through both sides of the track. Here's Bremkamp on the low side in that beautiful 78, and on the high side, that 21 of Jason Conover. It's been looking strong. We don't get Jason in every race, but it's always fun to see him out there. Of course, brother to Josh Conover, and one of the very talented truck driver and cup drivers in the league.
Yeah. Jason's still running dirt more so than he does asphalt. He's more of a dirt guy, but he does great over on the dirt side. Whenever NORA did have the dirt function going, he won a lot over there. So he's still kind of testing the waters with asphalt, still not quite there where he should be, but he definitely has as much talent as his brother does.
It's fun to see them when they are on a track together, because a lot of times they'll run pretty close to each other, and fun to see them mixing it up out there.
Bristol Dirt.
Yeah,
remember
absolutely.
Bristol Dirt? That was amazing between those two.
That was some kind of fun to watch those two mix it up out there. And of course, the more that he learns and the closer that he can get to front runner pace here, the more times that he and his brother Josh will be able to work their way forward as well. Here's Jacob Gladelich. He punched his ticket only a few races back by being in the right place at the right time and taking victory as the leaders ahead of him crashed out. But he's sitting there in the right place in 11th place right now to take advantage of any of these front runners who start really having difficulty. Here comes Gladelich, going to take a look down on the inside of Mark Bremkamp, and that would move him up into that top 10.
Yeah, he is going to have a good run here coming out of turn 4, looking into turn 1 and 2. Let's see how Mark Bremkamp can defend this. I don't think you're going to do much defending. He drove it in pretty hard as we got a battle up here toward the front. Josh Conover and Harper now looking back underneath him possibly here. But he chooses to stay in line here with Josh Conover.
Yeah, Harper had just gotten around him last lap while we were watching that other battle, and then Conover managed to make the pass back. So these two busy swapping positions up here. This is for 4th place on the track, and they're only running about a half a second back from Eric Sable. So still keeping good touch with them. Cody Reeder also not that far out of this group either. So this is still a very tight race up here at the front. This battle going on here is for 4th, 5th, and 6th.
And back behind that, Martin Pluton has company with Ronnie Norman now. Going to be looking for 7th here. He's about a car length back there. As you can see, the FanDuel Ford slipping in there. And We haven't mentioned Ronnie at all because he's back in 8th. Normally he's up here in the top 5, but not a good track for Ronnie apparently.
Well, so far it's been treating him okay. He's managed to gain 2 spots here tonight, but again, he's not exactly front row Ronnie, but he'll run up there in the front a lot of times, and I think this is the point where he's just starting to methodically work his way forward. That makes 3 positions gained up into the 7th spot over Martin Plout. So Plout's also, he's dropped 2 spots here tonight, so he's struggling just a little bit. And, we watch and see whether or not he's going to be able to recover those positions here tonight. Plout, not really one of those drivers that seems to hold on to those top 5 positions. He comes up there, he gets into the top 5, and then something forces him out. But here we take a look a little bit further back. This is Brad Fulham of Full Send Motorsports Racing with Torrin Shirts of BS Motorsports. This is for 13th and 14th on the track. Good battle happening amongst these two at the moment.
And to further with Martin Plout, he's actually gotten a couple pulls this season and started on that front row, but like you said, usually within 15 to 20 laps, he migrates to the back of the field. So he's one of those drivers that just, oh man.
And a big wreck right in front of us, unfortunately involving one of Christian's drivers, and he sits now sideways on the track. Very dangerous thing to do. Brad Fulham, we'll see if he can get that truck restarted again.
Oh, not clear yet. There you go. Oh,
oh
nope, still not clear.
And unfortunately, he collects one other truck in the process. I didn't see who that was.
I believe Hollinger?
I think it's Hollinger. That's what my timing and scoring is saying. We'll see if we can tell here from this shot. It certainly looks like Hollinger. And just not really quite enough room for him to squeeze. He might have had another foot to the right that he could have squeezed through, but Hollinger, I think maybe has some damage that looks like maybe some steering damage. So we'll see. Now that the yellow has come out, that will give him a chance to come in and get that damage assessed.
Yeah, with the new damage model, I believe they added tire damage. So if you damage the tire, your race is pretty much over. So that could be an unfortunate end to his night, or the guys in the pit box might be able to slap a few components in there and fix the right front.
Well, when did this? As we have a lot of trucks now coming down onto pit road, Brian Jones leading everybody down this very busy pit lane here. When did they release that new damage model, and does anybody really have much experience with this yet? Do we know, exactly what we can get away with? And I mean, it's 100% different than what we had with the old damage model.
Yeah, it's definitely different. It just came out Tuesday, so maybe these drivers don't have it in league, in league runs, but maybe in officials, if they did some throughout the week, might have been able to practice what the damage model can do. But yeah, I love the new damage model. You actually get to see the bumpers come off, the hood, the quarter panels and everything. You get to see the truck kind of crumple more than it usually would. So I absolutely love the damage model. The Cup has had it for a long time now, and now the trucks are finally getting it. So glad to see, because this is one of the best series on iRacing, in my opinion.
Absolutely, and also very accessible. It's a lower series that you can get into, and the trucks just drive differently than the Cup cars do. The Cups, it's a lot of fun, but they can also be very difficult to keep a handle on. I don't know. It's maybe a preference thing. Some people, as we see Hollinger and Fulham now getting into pit lane, I believe Hollinger got credit for leading that lap, but it's just a personal preference thing. Some people are going to really, really love to drive the trucks. Some people are going to really love driving the Cup cars. Some people really love the Xfinity cars. They all handle just a bit differently.
Right.
And so,
yeah, I like the trucks because they're easy to drive. That's how I won my only championship in NORA. So, ever since the truck championships, I haven't been able to win again. So I think, with me, it's how easy they are to handle.
Well, either way, we're going to take a momentary break here. We'll be right back here on VirtualRacing.Network. You don't want to go anywhere. Lots more green flag coverage yet to come. Stay tuned. And welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. Just about to start lap number 39, and just about another 16 laps until we hit that stage number 2. But Brian Jones choosing the left side of the choose cone, and you were just saying, Christian, this might give Josh Conover a good chance to pull what Sean Briscoe did earlier.
Yeah, we saw in the beginning Sean Briscoe was able to fire off a lot better on that outside, maybe a little bit more grip on the outside lane. So we got to see if Josh Conover can do as good of a job as Sean Briscoe did, because I honestly think Sean Briscoe timed it perfect too, and that's why he was able to get that. So let's see here what the 17 Mountain Dew Code Red truck of Josh Conover can do as we get into the restart zone. We're green.
We are green once again here at Gateway. Brian Jones.
Great start there for Josh.
Not
Sorry
a great
to cut you
start.
off there.
We had the opposite of what happened last time as Sean Briscoe manages to get the better of Josh Conover. And that's interesting because Josh is usually known for getting pretty good starts, but Briscoe, that makes a couple of decent starts he's gotten tonight, but nobody able to overcome Brian Jones. He's already got a couple of truck length lead. Here they go side by side, and you can see that Timmy Harper's right behind. He wants a piece of the action as well.
Yeah, he's not going to take it 3 wide, but as soon as somebody clears the other here, he's going to follow them. So if Josh Conover looks like he's going to have a better run, you're going to see Timmy follow him. But now you see Sable looking underneath Timmy, so there's 4 cars under a blanket here. As now Sable going to tuck in line behind Tim Harper, and it looks like Conover is going to almost clear Sean Briscoe. And you can see now Tim going to work that outside lane just like I predicted here and try to follow Josh as well.
So they now run Jones, Conover, Briscoe, Harper, and Sable. As we've had some trucks able to get some great restarts and some not, and they end up deciding to hold off on trying to make any passes at the moment. They'll stretch it out pretty much nose to tail, a big train forming, going all the way back to about 10th or 11th place. But so far, this has been a really good race thus far. A lot of these drivers already, in fact, everybody in the field already having made their pit stop. So it's pretty much going to be green flag all the way until we get to this stage. Nobody should need to make a pit stop at all. And that's going to give all of these drivers full confidence in their trucks to be able to try to make whatever passes they need here in the next 13 laps before we get to the stage caution.
Yeah, there is absolutely no saving tires right now. You know that caution's coming here in a bit, so it is pedal to the metal. And that's why you see Josh Conover kind of right on the back bumper of Brian Jones. He's not saving any of it. He is pushing it, giving it everything that he has to try to pass Brian Jones now. Because Josh Conover and Brian Jones are actually in a battle still for points to be the regular season championship, which awards you 15 bonus points. So those two are only 30 points separated. So Josh still has a chance to win the overall championship for the regular season.
And that, of course, brings with it a lot of pride points in amongst the NORA group. And whether or not it says that you're the overall champion or not, to get that regular season championship is something that everyone covets. Here's Josh Conover, as you mentioned. He may have slid back 4 or 5 truck lengths at the start, but he's pressing very hard right now to try to get up there and take that position from Brian Jones. I don't know if Jones was expecting such a dogfight here.
I don't think he was expecting it, but I mean, these two have been battling, it seems, for 3 years straight. These two have been in the championship for every year that they've been here in NORA, and with Josh obviously starting the league, he's been in here since day one, and he's made the championship for every single year. So he has experience racing Brian Jones a lot in this league.
Well, as you can see, they love racing each other. They love racing hard, and Brian Jones, he started on pole. He's currently running at the front, but Josh Conover has come through 5 trucks to get all the way up to second place, and it may just be just another lap or two before he tries to makes that effort to get underneath Jones and try and get up there and take his 6th position here tonight. We'll see whether or not it's and we've got David McGuire Now sitting in the pits, he actually had a moment. This was not long ago. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it says that he might have pulled it down. There we go. Looks like he just pulls it down onto the straight, and he's done for the evening. And he had just gotten the wave around the lucky dog there under that caution, so not sure if he had more difficulty or if he was just out there for some points tonight. But Brian Jones continues to lead. How much longer? He's got to hold on here for another 7 laps. And here comes Josh Conover. This is a really tricky one. I don't know if Conover's going to be able to pull it off. Jones going to get the better line through the corner.
What he's trying to do right now is goad Brian Jones into making a mistake, which is very unrare of Brian Jones. But Josh is obviously, he's showing himself in the left side of the mirror, the right side of the mirror. He is making himself known and making Brian sweat a little bit here. And that's his main goal. I don't think he's going to be able to pass him in 1 and 2 without maybe moving him. 3 and 4 is going to be a better chance for Josh to pass.
We'll see which corner he decides to make his move at, but he's got 7 more laps to go. Looking a little bit further, well, we'll keep it here for a moment and see whether...
He's got a good run there.
He keeps getting a good run, but it's one thing to get a run. It's another to actually get a wheel up on Brian Jones, who's very, very skilled at defending and being able to just stay just that little bit faster, just, you know, that half a tenth that you just can't quite seem to get. This is what I'm talking about. Can Conover actually get a wheel up on him? He will.
He's going to have to slide him. Oh, man. That's close. He might have the run off, though.
Of course, Josh Conover coming from the dirt world, he certainly knows how to pull off a slide job, so he did not do so there. Conover nice and clean through that and deciding, okay, I'm not going to get you through 1 and 2. What are we going to do through 3 and 4?
What he's got to do in 3 and 4, he's got to back up the corner, enter a little higher, and get a run off of turn 4. That way he can dive bomb it into turn 1. He seems like he's got really good exit off of 4 right now. He's just got to do a little bit of a better job. As now you see he's going to fall in line with Brian. This isn't the way to go because that's taking air off of him. You can see Brian Jones going to pull away there. So he's got to manifest the run starting in 3 and pull off the pass out of 2, believe it or not.
Well, there is a little bit of extra room. You see it there on the outside of turn 4. Now, the preferred line is to be closer to the apex coming off of turn 4. And if Brian Jones does take that line that is closer to the apex through turn 4, then you can let your truck run a little wide, take a little bit more exit speed with you, and either hold it on the outside or make the crossover move to the inside. But again, as we've seen, you know, if you're side by side coming through 1 and 2, do you want to be on the inside or would you prefer to be on the outside, be able to carry the most amount of speed? I personally would like to be on the outside coming through 1 and 2. Gives you the most flexibility.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to be on the outside in 1 and 2, but I think 3 and 4, you definitely want to be on the inside because there's more grip down on the bottom of that track. So, you know, we've seen already that people are able to hold it off on the outside lane in 3 and 4, but I still think that inside is the place to be.
Well, it looks like Josh has backed off just a little bit. I did want to send it a little bit further back and say for the Ronnie Norman fan club who hasn't materialized in our YouTube chat room yet, Ronnie Norman actually did not do so well after that round of pit stops. He was as far back as I believe as 13th, and he's picked off a couple of drivers as he's been moving forward. Ronnie Norman now up into 10th, but you see he's got several trucks right in front of him, including Mark Bremkamp, Jason Conover, and a little bit further up the track, Martin Plute. I think he's kind of getting held up here. Sort of Jason Conover, you know, and Mark Bremkamp kind of at the front end of this group. And now you see them racing side by side. They're sort of holding everybody up here at the front end of this group.
Yeah, we saw earlier Bremkamp and Conover side by side, and these guys just can't get away from each other. They're side by side again after the restart.
Still going side by side. Nobody can seem to break free. Bremkamp on the low side, Jason Conover on that high side coming through the corner. And again, Bremkamp on that inside line, and if you're on the outside, you just have that little bit more flexibility to get the angle that you want through the corner.
I don't know if I saw that right. Did Ronnie give Jason a little bump there to try to get him by Bremkamp?
It did look
like he.
It did look like it, but I also saw Jason get a little sideways there coming off the corner. And we now have a yellow, and that is for the stage caution. So Brian Jones taking that stage over Josh Conover, Sean Briscoe, Eric Sable, and Timothy Harper. That is your top 5 with Cody Reeder looking on from 6th place. How are they going to race in the second stage? Will it be Brian Jones again? Will Josh Conover or Sean Briscoe have something for him? You can't look past Eric Sable. He's right there as well. We're going to be right back here on VirtualRacing.Network. You don't want to go anywhere. We'll be right back with you. Welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. It's been an exciting race so far. We saw Brian Jones able to take the Stage 1 victory here for round number 12 at Gateway, Worldwide Technology Raceway for the NORA Truck Series. And as a result, I think we're going to get a chance here to chat live with our latest stage winner, and that is, of course, Brian Jones. Brian, it's Trevor Greenfield and Christian Snyder up here in the booth. Hey, great to have you with us, my friend. Congratulations on that first stage. You look dominant.
Thanks, guys. Car felt pretty good. That first run before the tires, I feel like I was saving my stuff. But, yeah, we'll see what we can do here on the long run.
It was a great run. And then, we saw challenges coming there from Briscoe, from Conover. Just seems like you got that extra little half a tenth there in your bag. You going to be able to hold them off going all the way forward to the end of the second stage?
We'll see. It's kind of a balance between using your stuff up early or really trying to save it for the end. You don't want to get past here because it's tough to get around people, especially late in the race. You kind of have to defend as much as you can without using up your right front.
Well, final question for you, and we've heard that like 13 laps or so is about as far as you can go on these tires. Is that what you're feeling? Are they going away pretty quick on you?
I just think it depends on how you drive it. You can keep the balance in it. If you really start overdriving, especially at the beginning of the run, they're gone in 13 laps for sure.
Well, either way, good luck to you. It seems like you don't need too much luck here tonight. You're doing some pretty awesome stuff with that truck, but we'll look forward to checking with you after the end of the race. I'm sure we'll get a chance to do an interview. Good luck, my friend.
hey, we always need more luck.
Absolutely. So that is Brian Jones checking in with us here after taking stage number 1. It's always so much fun to be able to interview these guys while they're out there on the track. The lights on the pace car are off, just about to go back to green. But Christian, you see what I see? Look who managed to get back out there, and he did it by only taking, I think, did he take fuel or did he take right side tires? Martin Plute with the pit strategy, getting back out there in front.
Man, I don't know if I like this call. We know how bad tires are. I mean, he had a good 15 laps on those tires. So if he took 2, I mean, it could be okay, but he's going to be real loose. So I don't know.
Well, no guts, no glory for Martin Plute here, going with the gamble. And we'll see whether or not it's the right call, but I'm sure Brian Jones very confident with those 4 fresh tires, and Plute able to get the jump on Jones into turn number 1. Here comes Conover.
Yeah.
This is
Jinx Yomi a soda here.
Almost
Hopefully
3 wide.
There he goes, going for the lead.
Wow, everyone making their move very early. Here goes Conover right past Jones and right past Plute. Is he going to try to get through? Here he goes down through 3 and 4, and you can see Tim Harper drifting up the track. You saw Cody Reeder trying to make it almost 3 wide coming through 1 and 2. Reeder really looking for it, and we do have a new leader. It's Josh Conover in that code red machine.
Well, if Josh was listening to Brian Jones's interview, he's going to have to defend a lot because, like Jones said, passing early is okay, but passing late's pretty difficult. So you're going to think that Jones is going to be really trying here, as we got possible, something to look at. Cody Reeder with Sable right on his bumper. Those two not friends with each other, not eating at the dinner table together.
And we are yellow.
Cody Reeder actually had an issue.
We actually have. That's Tim Harper who had an issue, and that truck is smoking.
I think possibly Reeder got into him because Tim was beside Reeder, and I did see Reeder drop 3 or 4 positions rapidly there and then come back. So I don't know if maybe he made contact with Timmy.
Well,
I'll have to see.
I'm not sure. I'm going to take a look at this first incident. This is Todd Snyder having a moment. This was after that restart. There's Snyder in the 86 going around, and that's on the backstretch. So that's kind of an isolated incident. And then I can see Bremkamp and Tim Harper. Let's see if we can tell exactly what happens here. Here's Tim Harper, and it's kind of in the mix there. And I don't think that was Cody Reeder.
No, that was Eric Sable. I apologize. It was Sable that dropped 3 or 4 positions because I was talking about both of them at the same time there. But yeah, it looked like Tim maybe thought he was clear and drifted up, or either that Sable came down and they just made that little bit of contact, and then you saw it there. Timmy was a pinball there for a little bit afterwards.
Well, let's see if we can tell from the chopper cam exactly what happened here. There's Sable.
Oh, he bumped him.
Tim gives Sable the nudge into the corner, and then
Sable retaliated. Oh,
that's
yeah. He was just trying to get in line, maybe. Can't speculate. We'll have to see on board, if maybe that wheel turns more left.
We'll definitely have to take a look once again at this. We'll see if we can tell from Sable's point of view, and we'll see if we can get right. Well, a little difficult to get into the cockpit with the way that we have the camera set up here, but let's see if we go to this camera. There we go. We'll get a chance to see steering wheel action as we head into the corner.
Yeah, you can see he gets bumped. He jumps it right, and then no, not really. I don't think that was intentional. I think he was just coming down the track. I mean, it wasn't a very aggressive left turn into him. So I don't think that was intentional, but I definitely think Timmy was still trying to push it and get in front of Eric, and Eric was trying to pinch him, and it was just kind of that same place, wrong time type thing, fighting for track position. So Definitely unfortunate for Timmy, though, because he was having a good run, and so was Eric Sable. I don't think the damage for Sable too much, but, man, this hit, that is a day ender for sure. As you can see, that was a red truck that came by and hit him. I believe that was Andrew Stab coming in and hitting him as well. So, definitely not good for the 75 truck as well.
See if that's in fact what happened here is, or Timmy got passed around there. Andrew Stab.
Oh, it could have actually been Christopher Heights now that I think about it as well.
Well,
because his truck also has red. I saw red and I thought Andrew.
Well, we'll see what happened from Andrew Stab's point of view. And there you see Tim Harper drifting up the track.
Oh, it was Christopher Heights. That's Tim Harper's teammate getting a little bit of damage, not too much. I think he missed him by a little bit. We'll have to see that front end of the car and see how bad it's damaged afterwards. As you can see, this is his view coming into the wreck. You see it already taking place up there on the top of your screen. There he goes around. A bumper slides across, nowhere for him to go. That's pretty cool. Last week we wouldn't have been able to see that front bumper sliding across the track. That was pretty neat.
A little bit of an extra show for our fans out there. Of course, we are under our second caution for a wreck. We're just about to come back to green flag here. We've already had our first stage caution. Our next stage will be coming up here on lap 110. And right now it's going to be Josh Conover, Brian Jones going at it again with Cody Reeder. Unfortunate stuff for Tim Harper, one of the better racers here in the NORA Series, just getting caught out there in momentary bump and run with Eric Sable. And always Timmy posting on social media how excited he is to get into the race and doing a yeoman's job of putting out the word for the NORA Truck Series. Unfortunate whenever he gets tangled up in one of these things. But as for everyone else, everybody else seemed to get into the pits during that caution, or a lot of drivers did. Conover getting the run out, and then here Cody Reeder on the outside trying to get it done on Brian Jones.
Well, Josh had some help getting going there. Cody Reeder was ready, and Josh wasn't, and he was pushing Josh across the restart box there. So Reeder really wanted to get going pretty soon there, and now is going to fall in behind Brian Jones. But Reeder definitely wants that win. You can tell on that restart.
Josh Conover up into the lead, up 6 positions here tonight. And Brian Jones now looks at the tail end of this Code Red machine, and he has to figure out how he's going to get back by for that Stage 2 victory, as he managed to take that first stage in a little bit, got a little bit in the bag still, so to speak. Managed to take it by a sizable margin. Brian Jones sitting there in second, Cody Reeder up into third, Plute back up there into fourth place, so still a good chance for him to finish solidly here in the second stage. And how about Mark Bremkamp? Not only in top 5, he's up 8 positions here tonight. And now the driver for BS Motorsports looking to take another one and move up into that 4th spot.
Yeah, another one moving up right behind him. Storm and Norman, as I call them, coming up into 5th is a little bit of an issue there for Plute on those old tires.
He went up there.
Here comes.
He tagged that wall. No, he tagged that wall just a little bit.
But yeah, behind Ronnie, we can see Todd Slauson now popping in here in the 6th place. Where did he come from?
I don't know, but he's up 9 positions.
There he is.
And yeah,
he disappeared.
He blinked for a second. It's always a little scary for him and for everybody else on the track. There he goes again. So
that's terrifying whenever that happens, especially if all the trucks on your screen disappear and you don't know where they are. It gets terrifying. It's almost an issue there between him and Martin Plute, and now someone got real loose. I think Gladelich just went around, or almost did.
Almost.
He saves it.
Taking a little bit of evasive action as things started to shake out in front. But this is a very tight battle happening here for this 6th position. And
hold on to her, Martin.
You know, Christian, you called it. Those 2 tires not holding out well here, and
yeah,
he's starting to drift back. He's now back into the 10th spot, just praying for a caution to come out any time now, but manages to get it back together and was up behind Craig Schroeder And now
he's wheeling it for sure out there.
he is definitely on top of that wheel, trying to stay on top of it. But this is not one of those tracks that you want to have that kind of stuff happen to you. As you can see just in front, still battle happening there for this 8th position between Conover and Schroeder. I'm sorry, Briscoe and Jason Conover. Briscoe there on the low side, that in and out truck.
Yeah, surprised to see Briscoe this far back in the field. He was battling for the lead at the beginning of the race, and now he's battling for 7th place here with Jason Conover. Maybe some trouble in the pits.
Very likely trouble in the pits, but we look back up at front, and that's Josh Conover, who's managed to walk about 4 or 5 truck lengths out on Brian Jones. And, you know, again, as we saw Conover really struggling to get by Jones, it's possible Jones maybe just kind of taking a little breather, letting his tires cool down a little bit, just running, not trying to run the wheels off of that thing and just try to manage it. Certainly, this is one of those tracks where you've got to keep reminding yourself it's 1.25 miles. It's not that big of a track. I mean, in comparison to like a 1 mile track like Milwaukee, that it just seems like you know, before you can even get up to speed, you're in another corner. Here, you have a little bit of straightaway room, so you can get these runs coming out of the corners, but you still really struggle sometimes to follow a truck through the corner and be able to set up and get the pass done and even get alongside fully to try to get into the corner and complete the pass. So, you know, at some point, if you're Brian, you think, okay, I'm okay to run second right now. This isn't the last lap of the race. It's not even close to the last lap of the stage. I'll just kind of cool my truck tires a little bit, manage things, and see if I can get up there and try and make a challenge here for the end of the stage.
Yeah, I think what Brian's doing right now is he is conserving those tires, like he said. There's kind of 2 strategies into going into this race, and it's pushing it from the beginning of the run and then hoping that you're able to run away far enough, or they're saving tires and be good in the long run. So possibly what's happening, Josh is taking his metaphorical ball and running home right now, while Brian Jones is just holding on to it and taking care of it.
And we'll see how all that plays out here in not very long, as we'll be getting to the end of stage 2. And this might be a little bit of a preview here on who's going to have the full picture tonight, because whoever can manage these long green flag runs is probably the one that is going to have everything in the right place at the very end of this race. Brian Jones, though, he's had great answers all season. It hasn't equated to a lot of victories yet, but he continues to dominate these points. And Conover, you know, wants to take those points, and so does Briscoe. But it's been Brian Jones's show here in the NORA Truck Series, so we'll see. Does look like he's very, very slowly reeling in Conover, and we'll see whether or not he manages to do so in due time. Take a little bit further back. This is Todd Slauson, who's managed to get up into that 6th spot, up 9 positions, as we mentioned. But here comes Sean Briscoe from the Capital Motor Club. He's going to send it down on that low side and take that position. He took that with ease.
Yeah, I think Todd knows Sean Briscoe's situation. He's not in a must-win by any means. He's just out there to get as many points as he can. Todd is in this thing for the long run. He needs to have that truck there for the end of the race. So he just kind of moved over, let him by. Now's not the time to battle. I'll get you later was the mentality there for Todd.
Well, and I wonder, you know, with, I think, what do we have, 5 more races left until the playoffs? You know, I just wonder, at some point, is Slauson and some of these other drivers, are they thinking, I need to position myself for the win? That's all I'm thinking about, is I want that win. If I can get the win, I'm going to punch my ticket. I don't care about getting 2nd place in the stage. I don't care about, you know, finishing, you know, 9th in the regular season points. All I care about is punching my ticket for the playoffs, and so we'll see. Certainly, Todd had the right answer last week, and it was a beautiful thing to watch.
He's already in that mindset of it's win or crash trying. And, you know, like some people will frown upon that and be upset about it, but this playoff format, the win and you're guaranteed, just kind of it breeds that you have to do whatever it takes to win, and sometimes that means getting dirty. And we saw it, last week with him blocking the entire backstretch and making his truck 4 lanes wide. Some people frowned upon it. And then obviously the wreck out of 4, people were upset because they weren't able to finish, such as Josh or I believe it was Sable, who finished back in like 12th and 13th instead of 2nd and 3rd like they were going to. So a lot of people are not happy with it, but I understand where he is in his position right now. So.
And he does have to walk away with you would know better than I as his team owner. He's got to walk away with so much confidence of the good things that he did last week. And for those of you that haven't seen that race for whatever reason, you can of course go back and rewatch that one of the most insane finishes that we've ever seen in broadcasting here on VirtualRacing.Network. But Todd was not only in position and leading the last 10 laps, but he managed to defend every single other driver's attempts, and he did it expertly. And Christian, did you have a chance to really feel out Todd after the tears were done flowing? Did he feel good? Did he feel confident that he had it and it was in the bag, just a little misstep at the end?
He did. He felt confident, but at the same time, he was heartbroken because he was that close. But at least Andrew Staub was able to get second, his teammate, so he was real happy about that, seeing Andrew get second, and was able to calm down pretty quickly after he found that out. And but for a while there, he wasn't talking the night of, but he talked to us the next day, and everything was good. And we talked to him today, and he's still having residual nightmares of it. So.
Well, nothing to do but get out there and get up on your horse again and ride.
Right.
And here tonight, he's got a chance to redeem himself. And again, it's not to say that a top 5, a top 3 won't be great things for Todd Slauson, but knowing that to get in those playoffs, you got to punch your ticket by getting up there and getting a win. That's what it's all about here tonight. We'll see what Todd can pull off. Slauson now taking a look on Sean Briscoe as Briscoe tries to get around Bremkamp. I think Bremkamp kind of holding this little mini train of trucks here up. He got real loose coming off of that corner. Here comes Briscoe.
A good run for Briscoe going into 3 here, and he will probably easily take this position unless Bremkamp kind of defends it, and it looks like he will try to and not succeed, because there goes Briscoe.
Well, and that's what I'm talking about, is if you play it right, you can get a really good run off of the outside of this corner. This is one of the tracks in turn 3 and 4 where you can run that outside lane. It just depends on what the tires are doing and how hot the track is and whether there's enough grip out there. But right now, Bremkamp not able to hold on to that position. He's going to have Todd Slauson come and call in here on the inside before too long. And by the way, if you're out there, you're watching along in YouTube land, we do appreciate you being out there. Make sure you say hello to us. Let us know where you're watching from, who you're rooting on. And if you're also watching here on YouTube and you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit the big subscribe button. Why not? It used to be red. That'd be nice and easy to see, but now it's black. I don't know what they're trying to do.
Why wouldn't you be subscribed?
Why not? It doesn't cost you anything. It's totally free.
Free.
Yeah, exactly. So we're not asking to pay for all the broadcasts or sponsor somebody's entry or anything like that. Just hit the subscribe button. And we're getting dangerously close to 400. As I'll tell you who else is getting dangerously close. That's Bremkamp, but still manages to hold on to that truck with Eric Sable coming up from behind. And there's Todd Slauson coming calling as well.
Yeah, that was a scary moment there for Todd and Mark, but they were both able to save it. Now Eric Sable with a moment there. It got real loose, way down to the grass almost, and he's going to gather it up, continue to stay in front of Todd here, and try to chase down Mark Bremkamp.
So this is the point in the stint when things start to fall apart with these tires, and it goes from bad to worse. There you can see on your screen You know, we were talking at this open, it was 115 degrees on the track. You see what it is now, Christian? 132. It is cooking out there. So we were thinking it might be a little bit easier on these truck drivers than it was last week on the Cup drivers, but it is not. It is greasy and snotty out there on the track at the moment. And right now, here comes Eric Sable down on the low side on Eric Bremkamp. This will be for 6th position.
Yeah, and I think the reason it got so hot out, you can see the clouds, they're non-existent anymore. It is clear skies now. Toward the beginning of the race, there were some clouds covering the track, and now it's just under complete sunshine, not a single cloud up there. Maybe way off in the distance there. But yeah, not a cloud over the track for sure.
So something else to add another strategy layer here. Of course, static weather is not a thing in iRacing to simulate realistic weather, and it could be cloudy to start the race and nice and cool, and all of a sudden you get 15, 20. It seems to be my luck whenever I go to watch a race. You know, you get there in the morning, it's like perfect temperature, you got your like sweatshirt on, and everything's feeling great. By the time it's, 15 minutes until race time, it is boiling hot, and you're wondering, how the heck am I going to get through 3 hours in this sunshine? But
it happened the opposite way for me. I went to Dover one time, and it was supposed to be sunny and warm, and then the clouds rolled in, and it was absolutely freezing, and I did not have a jacket, so that day was miserable.
It's one of those things you don't really think about when you go to the races, because you watch it on TV, it always looks comfortable. But when you go, you are, it's like going to a baseball game or football game or anything like that. You are out there exposed to the elements. Used to be in Southern California, and see, by the way, Todd Slauson having a moment back there just a second ago, getting a little loose. Used to be in Southern California and going to the Long Beach Grand Prix, same thing. You're right there by the beach. You always think, oh, it's going to be nice and cool with that overcast weather. Boom, there's that hot sun comes out. And, and then when you're least suspecting it, then there's the rain clouds that move in and dump a little bit of rain on you when you're in the middle of the grandstand with no jacket to cover you, because you're expected to be out there drinking beer and eating nachos, but or King Taco or whatever. Hey, back to this race, though. This has been a good one so far, and a lot of great side-by-side racing here between these drivers on a very hot track. This is NORA Truck Series, and great action racing for 6th position. This is Eric Sable on the inside and Mark Bremkamp on the outside, putting up a fantastic fight. Christian, I don't think I've seen two drivers fight harder for a position all night. They have been just going at it here for 4 or 5 laps.
Yeah, they've been side by side now, almost every corner. As you can see, that was really tight there. Bremkamp doing an amazing job holding them off on the outside, but now you see, we talked about it earlier, whenever you're side by side in 1 and 2, you get loose whenever you're that bottom truck because all the air goes off you. Sable got loose there, and he's going to let Bremkamp go about 2 truck lengths ahead of him after that little bobble there.
Well, this has been an amazing thing to watch Bremkamp go from slip sliding on this track and giving up a position to suddenly being able to get a grip back on this truck once again and hold off an amazing driver in Eric Sable. Sable's taken pole positions. He's been able to take a win. I mean, this is not some back marker that you're dealing with here. You're not running for, 20th place out there on the track at the moment. This is for 6th, and that's race-winning driver Eric Sable coming up to try to pass Bremkamp. But Bremkamp, one of those drivers who also needs to fight hard to get more points, and possibly he needs to fight to get a win to get into these playoffs.
Yeah, he's another driver on the outside looking out, or looking in, I believe. So he's going to need that win to secure his spot as well.
In the meantime, back up front, this battle continues to rage on between Josh Conover of Flatline Motorsports and Brian Jones of Brian Powell Motorsports. This is only 0.3 of a second separating these two, and it's been a tight battle pretty much the entire race, and certainly since we came back to the green flag. We've got just under 20 laps to go until we get to the end of this stage. So I see Jones, it looks like, very slowly closing in. See if we can tell here from our time delta. There you can see it was a little bit longer about 5 to 10 laps ago, and then it's been slowly decreasing. Now we're sitting right now at just a quarter of a second back. That Brian Jones, number 45 Ford, is just starting to stalk Josh Conover. I wonder if finally these tires are starting to catch up with Josh Conover.
Well, the question is he caught him, but can he pass him? Because, like he said in his little interview, it's so hard to pass here. So, is he going to be able to get the job done cleanly on Josh Conover here, or will he possibly move him out of the way to get that stage win? Because, like I said, these two are battling for the regular season championship, and that one extra point does matter a lot.
And also, Brian Jones has led a lot of laps, and so possibly another bonus point to come to Josh if he can lead the most laps. And
well, actually, I believe there's no bonus points for leading a lap or most laps led anymore. I think that was taken out in this season, I believe.
Okay. Well, I stand corrected. So, I mean, there's only so many ways you can score points.
Yeah.
As a driver, you're always trying
Pretty
to
much
think
stages.
of. I mean, you got to do stages. You got to do race victory. You can, you're trying every way you can through bonus points or anything else to try to take as many points away from each stage and each race as possible. And
right.
It's certainly all about being as consistent as you can. I mean, if you can get third or fourth in each one of the stages, you walk away with a lot of points at the end of the run. Certainly you'd love to be first or second, and right now Brian Jones is sitting in second place. Well, he won the first stage, sitting in second for the second stage, and if you could end up second here at the end, that's worth a ton of points. But of course Josh would have been pretty much flip-flopped from that, so you won't gain too many points over it. But still, like I said, everything you can do to try to figure out how to get one up on your opponent, and these drivers are at the top of their game in terms of trying to figure it out. Here's Cody Reeder, who's up 2 spots for KPR Motorsports. He's complained a lot, saying, Monday nights, he goes out there, he has a lot of speed. He's been kind of unlucky here in the Truck Series. And so perhaps Reeder starting to, take it a little bit with a little bit more caution, and now holding on to that third spot. This is where he kind of wants to finish. He's, of course, one of those drivers who, as you mentioned, is on the outside looking in and trying to get in on points, as he doesn't have a race win here in the Truck Series. So, but he certainly has the speed to get race wins. And so Reeder holding on to third, but he's solid 2.6 seconds back now from Brian Jones.
There is still a possibility, a very small possibility, that Cody could make it in on points. He would have to pass Torn Shirts in points, which he's only 19 back. As are we under? Was that a caution or no?
I don't see a caution.
I thought I heard a wreck.
I do not have any notes on a wreck, but it's always possible. Somebody could always spin out and crash, and it doesn't register in our software. Take a look a little bit further back. Here's Heights. I see Conover has dropped out.
Oh, maybe that was it.
But he dropped out, it looks like, on lap 83, so that was some time ago. We take a look. Still got Schneider in the race. Still have Christopher Heights in the race.
Everyone's looking good. I must be hearing things over here.
Well, also to drop out, he was doing so well, but then the truck really started to get away from him after that gamble on tires. Martin Plute out of the race on lap number 80. So we've lost him as well. And currently everyone else still out there. Josh Conover is still in this lead, but there's Brian Jones. He's come calling.
He's there.
He has arrived on the doorstep of Josh Conover. He says, "You remember me? Well, you took the position not that long ago." I said, "Go off, Josh. Do what you need to do up there for a while. I'll be back. I'm taking a little break back here. Gonna kick my legs up."
Josh was enjoying his macchiato, and Brian Jones came back and said, "Remember me, America?" A little Talladega Night there.
Going to put up a little bit of shake and bake right now. Coming forward, Brian Jones can possibly take a look at the low side on Conover at some point, or maybe just sizing him up a little bit to see if he can get a good solid run on him. Lap car going to be coming into part of the picture here in a moment.
Yeah, I believe that Zach Hollinger in the 13 here in front of Josh Conover.
So we'll see how that affects Conover and Jones as they go through the corner, but looks like Hollinger drifts up the track enough that it allows Conover to get through, and Jones as well. Jones little impeded on exit.
That's what I was worried about. I was worried that Jones was going to have to enter or exit the corner a little lower than he wanted to, and he did. That allowed Josh to get about a truck length on him there out of turn 4, maybe 2 now, as he pulled it back to about 0.4 of a second.
Well, and this becomes one of the factors as well. Pretty soon, if it stays green for long enough, we've got only about 6 laps until the end of the stage. So, in a race where you don't have stage breaks and it goes green for a very, very long time, you start lapping and you get up there towards where trucks are running. For example, there's a battle going on right now. If we take a look back here, this is 8th place where Torrance Shirts is, and you see you got 4 trucks in a row. Now, if you're up there and you're lapping, you get up to Brad Fulham, and he's engaged in a battle with Todd Slauson and Jacob Gladelich and Torrance Shirts, and they're all racing, nose to tail. It becomes really difficult on a track where it's already tough to pass, and you got tires going off because of the heat, and all these drivers are struggling with it. It becomes really, really difficult to make the passes that you need to and keep the guy behind at bay. And that's a place where if you're somebody like Josh, you may have a trouble with Brian Jones getting around, finding a way if one of these cars, if you come up on it and it holds you back, and they can use it as a pick and be able to go right around you. So, and Brian Jones, certainly the talented driver that would know that and know to use lap traffic to try to take advantage.
Yeah, and I don't think lap traffic is going to become an issue here in this stage because we are only 4 laps
We've got
away.
Slauson having a moment there. It looks like he went off track and came back on. I'm sorry to break that up there, Christian.
Let's see what happened here. He just tank slaps it and gets a little loose and touches the grass, but pretty good save there for Todd. Gonna only lose 1 position from that. But back up front, Josh Conover, he's not going to have any lap traffic, but he's going to have Brian Jones right on his bumper for the next 2 laps of this stage here as we get the 2 to go this time by, I believe, if not the white flag. I think it's 2 to go.
Yep, this will be 2 laps to go right now. Is it going to be Josh Conover here at the end of stage 2, or will it be Brian Jones? Brian tries the high side there in 2. He gets a little too high, though, for comfort, and he has to back out of it. I don't think that is what Jones wanted, and as we've been talking about it now all night long, that 1 and 2 is a tricky place. You got to get on the brakes. You've got to really get the truck into the right turning angle, and if you're too high up, you're too far down into the corner, you can really slow yourself down coming through the corner, and it looks like that's what happened to Jones. As now Conover on the final lap of this stage, and he looks to have it all sorted out, although here comes Jones, still keeping it close enough. He might decide to take a look. We're moments away. I don't think so, though.
Stage is already over, yeah. So that was the white flag lap, and Brian, he dove into turn 1 and 2, and that was his opportunity. Wasn't able to get it done, so Josh Conover going to win the stage here. And I believe that's his first stage win in a couple of weeks. He hasn't been able to knock them off, so this is impressive for Josh. Just when he needs it, he's starting to win the stages.
You're absolutely right. I was thinking it was lap 111. It was 110, in fact, that was the stage break. So Conover, Jones, Reeder, Norman managing to climb up 6 positions here so far today. He's up into 4th, and Briscoe finishing in 5th, just outside of that group. Sable, Bremkamp, Shirts, Gladelich, and Brad Fulham. That is your top 10. So with that, we're going to step aside for just a moment. We'll be right back with the final stage, and we'll take you to the checkered flag here on VirtualRacing.Network. Stay here. You're not going to miss anything. All of these pit stops coming up here on your screen. Stay tuned. Welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. It's round number 12, Worldwide Technology Raceway, also known as Gateway, presented by Abby's Sweet Treats. And so far, we've had a heck of a battle between Josh Conover and Brian Jones. Cody Reeder not that far out of it. Sean Briscoe also part of the picture. But Josh Conover managed to hold off a very hard charging Brian Jones there in this second stage and take that victory. And of course, as we were talking about getting all of those points, really crucial to taking that regular season victory. We're going to, that regular season championship. So we're going to get a chance here, I believe, to chat with Josh Conover. And hey, Josh Conover, it's Trevor Greenfield, Christian Snyder here in the booth. Great race so far. It's been a tight battle between yourself and Brian Jones. You also got Cody Reeder up there in that mix, and your good buddy Ronnie Norman not far off. Give us your take on tonight's race, and congratulations so far on taking that second stage.
It's it's interesting. It's I think clean air is more important than I had thought it would, and I'm actually kind of surprised I held on. I think Brian's the class of the field tonight, as per usual most nights, but I don't know. We're gonna see what can happen here.
Well, how have the tires been? You know, it's gotten a heck of a lot hotter. It's like gone up, 17, 18 degrees on the track since this race started. Are you feeling it there in the truck?
Yeah, we're up to 131 on track right now. It's kind of weird. Like, it's loose, but yet you're still burning the right front. Like, I had 10% more wear on my right front than my right rear, but like I said, I was still loose. So it's weird. Like, you're loose on track, but then you look at your tires and it's reading tight.
Well, what do you think it's going to take here at the end? You think you just got to stay in front? There's no chance. If you're in second, do you think there's a way you can plot and plan and strategize and get past somebody who's up in front? Or do you just want to be sitting up in front and own the front end of this race?
I know for me, I'm going to try and stay out front. I think it's easier to protect than pass somebody, especially for me, but I'm sure somebody else can make a pass for sure.
Well, you got to get back to it. Good luck with the end of the race. We'll talk to you afterwards.
Thank you. Hopefully I can keep it up here.
So that is Josh Conover of Flatline Motorsports. He's up there in the lead. He won stage 2. As we were, we're talking, Christian, ahead of this thing, and we were saying how, you just can't count out Josh just because he's not up there in the first 1, 2, 3 positions. You just can't count him out, and there he managed to manifest all the way up there in front, and he took stage number 2. So will he take victory here tonight? That is what we're wondering. Either way, we've got just about 45 more laps to go here in this one to decide it, and Josh Conover getting a great run there into 1 and 2.
I was about to say that was a great restart there for Conover, and now he's got to hope that Reeder and Brian Jones stay side by side for a couple laps to let Josh run away with this thing.
Well, and that's exactly what's happening. Cody Reeder, Brian Jones side by side. Now, as you mentioned, it's so hard to pass here. I think Jones saying, I don't want to give up second place. He's going to fight and fight and fight to hold on to that second place because, I mean, to try to get back by Reeder at the end of this one is going to be very difficult.
Yeah, they're going to go side by side into turn one here. We've seen a lot of trouble with that. And, I mean, these two are very good drivers, but you're still going to have a little bit of issues whenever you're side by side. But not so much there. I mean, Reeder did lose a little bit of ground, maybe a little bit of a bobble, but not much. And now you see Sean Briscoe working the outside of Reeder as well, with Sable right there in the picture, not too far behind.
So as they come down the front stretch, it's Cody Reeder and Sean Briscoe now side by side for that third spot. Cody Reeder manages to retake that position and back up there into third spot. Just behind now, Briscoe going to face a challenge from Eric Sable. This is something else to see. Here comes Sable back. He's come back through the field, and Ronnie Norman drifted back a couple of spots, but he's all the way up into the sixth spot as well. So we've got all the cream rising to the top here at the end of the race. All the big names sort of coming to the fore. And right now it's still Conover leading over Jones. Reeder in third place, Sable and Briscoe. So Sable able to take that position from Briscoe up into fourth. And now he's going to try to set his sights on Cody Reeder.
Yeah, currently 9 of the top 10 drivers are all in the playoffs as of right now. So these guys all where they need to be at the right time. I think except for Reeder. Reeder is not in, and neither is Schroeder, so I apologize. It's 8 trucks. As we have a caution here, we got trouble. Andrew Staub around.
Andrew Staub appears to be the only truck involved. And
that front nose is gone, so that could be a night ender here. He is having trouble getting that thing fired back up.
And there
he will need a tow there.
That new damage model working overtime. That is some serious damage to that machine. As you can see, the tube frame exposed there on the number 75 Borland machine. And I know as the team owner there, that is not the sight that you want to see on your truck. A little bit of extra to come out of the pocketbook this weekend. Let's take a look, though, at what happened to Staub as it came through the corner. And that's...
Oh, no. We're going to have a long meeting on Tuesday morning, I feel. That was a teammate and teammate incident.
We'll go back and check this one out from this point of view here.
Yeah, I think Todd maybe expected him to go up a little bit more closer to the wall. And I mean, it wasn't intentional by any means. I hope that Andrew's not mad at Todd because, I mean, these guys have been growing their friendship over the season. So obviously no intent there, but just unfortunate that two teammates take each other out there, and it happens to be my team.
Well, you know, as we take a look at this one, you know what they do say. If you're racing hard, you don't ever want to make contact with your teammate. You can race hard and you can, you know, go side by side, but you never want to hit your teammate out there. Not that you ever want to hit anybody, but certainly your teammate is off limits. So Conover in the lead here. Brian Jones in second, Eric Sable in third, Sean Briscoe in fourth, Ronnie Norman in fifth, and Jacob Gladelich now up into that sixth position. Torrin Schertz in seventh, Bremkamp in eighth, Craig Schroeder in ninth, and Brad Fulham in 10th. That's your top 10. We're going to be right back here on VirtualRacing.Network. Stay tuned, and we will pick up the green flag action all the way to the checkered flags. And welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. Just about to take the green flag here on 124. As you can see, it's Sean Briscoe who's managed to get in front of Brian Jones. Josh Conover sitting on pole there for this restart, and we're back underway. Briscoe tries to get a really good start. He manages to get ahead of Brian Jones for that position.
Yeah, and that came to be because Briscoe chose the inside lane, but here you see Brian Jones, the reason he chose that outside is the run that he's going to get off of turn 2 here could be able to clear Briscoe by the time he gets into turn 3.
Gets a great run coming off of the corner, and now it looks like coming into the corner, that was Sable who got just behind, very close between these 3 trucks. You see a lot of trucks just behind as well, still side by side racing for position. It's a little bit further back. This is Gladelich and Torrance Shirts now racing side by side.
Oh, close moment there. Reeder had to jump high. He wasn't expecting the truck in front of him to brake that quickly and had to leap to the outside. He's going to advance over Craig Schroeder there. I believe that's the 10 of Craig Schroeder, I believe.
Well, Cody Reeder.
Sorry.
Well, I was just. Oh, and Gladelich and Shirts get into it almost, and now Bremkamp in the middle of this one. And I was going to say that Reeder actually came in under that caution, one of the only trucks to do so, and he took 4 new tires. So, and now we've got 3 trucks around. Gladelich.
Oh, man.
Gladelich.
Not too much damage.
And Bremkamp around. Yeah, not too much damage until that point. That is some tricky stuff to get sorted out here at the Gateway Oval, and cautions breeding cautions. It just looked a little extra aggressive in that grouping there that they were all running with.
Yeah, I mean, now's the time to go, though. You know, these restarts are the only time you're able to pass. So, you know, Jacob Gladelich here, he goes into the corner pretty deep. Bremkamp was still coming down the track, and they just kind of met in the middle there, and both of them do some synchronized spinning. In the Olympics, I think I would have given that a 8.5. That was pretty impressive there, but obviously not what they wanted to accomplish there. Thank you. Oh.
So, Jacob Gladelich and Mark Bremkamp, unfortunately, having a difficult run of it here as we just get into stage number 3, and they'll get it sorted out. They'll get it back together here. What we do have, though, is now a new gamble. Brian Jones and Ronnie Norman, Torrance Shirts, Craig Schroeder, all of these drivers now coming down onto pit lane. I think, you know, they've got to cover Cody Reeder because Cody made that gamble before, and Cody is going to come out smelling like a rose after this one because everybody else that's in front, Josh Conover, Briscoe, and Sable, they all came in on lap 111. He's got fresher tires than they do, and all of these other drivers are going to come out well behind Reeder. So this is some amazing news for Reeder. I mean, it's only 9 laps, but as we found out, 13 laps being that cutoff, if he can make some moves pretty fast, he might find himself right up there challenging for this lead.
Yeah, I like the call by Reeder, but I don't know. With Brian Jones restarting 7th, I mean, he's obviously going to have the tires in the very long run of this, but what Josh and Briscoe and Sable are doing, these guys are staying out. They're going to have 1 or 2 sets left. Everyone else is going to only have maybe 1 if they're lucky. So they're not going to be able to pit the rest of the race, whereas Josh, Briscoe, and Sable will be able to, at some point, pit if there's another caution.
Well, and that we really look forward to finding out. I mean, it's too bad we can't see the number of tire sets still left for each driver. That's just data that we don't get. But
that is something iRacing should add, because that is pretty important in the broadcasting area of, you know, iRacing, to know how many tires they have used.
So this is going to be interesting here to see where this puts Briscoe relative to Conover, as that choose cone is in effect. But it looks like Briscoe and Conover will start side by side, and now that puts Cody Reeder right up there in position to make a big old swipe at these front two positions here, coming to the green flag on the next lap. Like I said, this is going to be very interesting because Cody does have 9 laps newer tires, but there you can see just 2 rows back that green and white truck of Brian Jones. And he, as well as a number of other trucks, including, hey, we can't count this guy out. I mean, we're just skipping around him because he hasn't been up there in the lead. But Ronnie Norman, the first truck up there right now, who has the latest tires. And again, we're talking 16 laps newer tires for Ronnie Norman and Brian Jones, as well as Torrin Schertz and Craig Schroeder, Dylan Walterman, all these drivers, even Brad Fulham back here in 12th, Christopher Heights, they're all on the lead lap, and they all have fresher tires than Conover, Briscoe, and Sable right now. So it's their advantage for sure in the long run on these laps, but we'll see how much those 16 laps really mean here over the long run. Josh Conover going to be starting once again from the top spot. Briscoe, he already managed. I mean, we saw what Briscoe did there at the very start of the race, able to get Brian Jones on that restart. So we'll see whether or not he can do that to Josh Conover here. But there's Cody Reeder sitting there with those slightly fresher tires, and I'm excited. This is going to be some fun strategy with just 50 laps remaining in this race. It's still hot as you fry an egg on that track out there right now, but
it's nice and cold at the booth, and that's what matters.
Yeah, we got the AC working plenty good here in the booth. These drivers, though, it's like 160 degrees in that cockpit. I have no idea how they're surviving. Josh Conover going to lead us back. Is Briscoe going to be able to stay with him? We're coming to the green flag here on lap number 131.
Not as big of a jump as Josh usually gets. He's still got company right behind him with Eric Sable. Those two kind of teammates, so Sable knew when Josh was going to go. I'm sure Josh had the hand out the window saying let's go. So Sable got that memo, and he's going to pull into second place now with Josh in first. I think Sable's going to be fine with just riding behind Josh here. He's already locked in. He doesn't need to win. He's going to want to, but at the same time, Josh needs as many points as he can get. Being that he's on his team, he's going to kind of take it easy on Josh, I believe.
Well, and he was just involved in an incident just not that long ago, but here he is back again. Todd Slauson for Full Send Motorsports, now right up there towards the front. We've got numerous other drivers making some big moves here. That's Cody Dorsey, Craig Schroeder moving around back and forth. 38 and the number 18 and the number 10, swapping spots. There's Craig Schroeder in that number 10, getting underneath. As you see now, Dorsey moving backwards on the track and stuffing up another couple of trucks. Here comes that 33 of Torrin Schertz now on Schroeder, and now Slauson starting to fall backwards, as well as Ronnie Norman just up in front manages to get around. So Norman back into 6th, Slauson back into 7th. As we look up forward, it's Conover, Sable, and Briscoe is running 1, 2, 3. But there is Brian Jones. He's moved from 7th up to 4th with those fresh tires. He's now gotten around Cody Reeder for 5th spot. So Jones is on a march forward. He's got the fresh tires. He's got the feel goods on. He already knows he's led and taken a stage victory here. Is this the time that Brian Jones makes the move on these 3 front runners and is able to position himself to possibly take this victory?
Well, he may have better tires, but it's still going to be hard to pass these guys because they aren't going too much slower than Brian Jones. So he's going to have to make some moves here. You're going to see him pull low here on the inside and show Briscoe the nose. He's going to drive it in pretty hard. We'll have to see if he's able to clear him. I think he will be able to. Briscoe holding on tight here. He's still there. He's putting on a good fight. We'll see, though, in 3 and 4, Brian Jones having that inside, that's going to be a big advantage here in 3 and 4. You'll see him
Jones
grip the bottom, and there he goes.
absolutely able to hold that bottom line, and he gets that grip coming off of the corner. And you know, we just haven't seen the high line materialize at all here at Gateway through 3 and 4 like it sometimes can. There goes Cody Reeder, maybe taking a little look underneath. Able to stay underneath of Sean Briscoe there for that 4th position, but facing quite a challenge. And then there you see Ronnie Norman starting to enter the picture, possibly going to take a stab at that one as well as soon as some space clears up for him. He's going to go underneath Briscoe right now.
Yeah, he's also got a little bit fresher tires than Sean Briscoe. I think about 8 laps fresher because he pit the last caution there.
Well,
so
Briscoe in on 111 and Norman 127, so that's that 16 lap difference.
Yeah.
Same as for Brian Jones. So this is what we're seeing now. That 16 laps is a great deal of difference. And now we're watching Brian Jones. He's going to make that move. He almost made that move on Eric Sable, but he thought better and pulled out of that one.
This guy's going to be hard to pass. We know earlier that these two got into each other and almost wrecked. You know, Brian Jones cut Sable off and almost spun him out on the front stretch. So Sable is not going to let him by easy. He is going to block for everything it's worth here to try to keep second place. And they're going to hope for a caution with about, 20 to 15 to go. And you'll see Josh Conover pit along with Sable. So
here comes Jones. This is it. He throws it in turn 3 on Eric Sable. He did everything he could do to try to hold off Brian Jones, but Jones wants this position. He wants more. He's going to come after Josh Conover here as we get dangerously close to 20 to go. This is not what Josh Conover wanted to see. As you said, Eric Sable, he wanted Eric to just sit back there and play tail gunner for Josh and hold out there and keep Brian Jones at bay, but unable to hold him off for very long. Here comes Jones with those fresher tires, and it may just be a matter of time until Jones figures out a way to take Conover here with just coming up on 20 laps to go.
I tell you what, if we had the ability to listen into Josh's radio right now, he is screaming, caution, caution, please, caution, because he needs those 4 fresh tires. And at this point in the run, Brian Jones is also going to need those 4 tires, so everybody would have to pit here at this point.
Well, Cody Reeder also trying to take a look underneath and not going to be able to do so. Here comes Ronnie Norman on the outside. And here we got side by side as Josh Conover is up into the wall just as they were starting to go side by side. We've got to go back and take a look at that. And I am not sure that there wasn't contact. That happened very, very quickly.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say there was contact here. We'll have to see what caused it.
Conover gets down onto that curbing and then comes up a little bit. I don't think you're supposed to touch that curb. I know that's pretty much no-go zone down there. So let's take a look one more time.
See from the chopper cam here, he's gonna touch the apron. We know that, but I think it gets him a little loose, and he bobbles here and then moves up the track right there, and that's what hooks him into the wall. I mean, nothing of intention from either driver, just a racing incident. That's unfortunate way to end Josh's night, but man.
That is some unfortunate stuff as all these drivers now heading into the pits while we're showing these replays. But let's take a look from on board with Josh Conover. Here's what he saw. And I think maybe just a little bit of mirror driving there. Got a little bit too low on entry. And as you said, that bobble just moving him up the track and into the path of Brian Jones. I keep wanting to call him Eric Jones, but of Brian Jones. Unfortunate stuff for Conover, and now Conover, let's see, where did he end up out of that? Is he still, he's falling down through the order.
Hey, we got a new leader out there. Dylan Walterman.
Dylan Walterman who decided not to come in. Also, Christopher Heights deciding not to come in, and they don't need to. And by the way, we're just under 20 to go, and that gives us a chance to talk about the 20 to go segment here, brought to you by Snyder Graphics. That's facebook.com/Snyder Graphics. And, you know, this guy, Christian Snyder, is responsible for some of the really cool paint jobs out there, including this snazzy Menards Bass Pro Shops paint job. That's a good-looking one. And I like what's going on here with this Brad Fulham paint job. Do you know any others by Snyder Graphics out there this week?
Yeah, Ronnie Norman's paint scheme, I believe, was made by Snyder Graphics, as well as Eric Sable's as well.
That's a snazzy-looking FanDuel paint job if I've ever seen one right there. And Eric Sable, just up in front here, that Mobile One paint job, very familiar, great clips. You know what I like about these paint jobs? I was going to tell you flat out, I can read every sponsor. I love it. They're so easy to read, very clear and distinct. And, well, that's why you guys over at Full Send, you continue to get that really great sponsorship, because, you know, everybody can read those sponsors up there from the stands. That's the main thing. So Dylan Walterman is going to stay out there with those older tires, and everyone else coming in on lap 141. Well, we've seen this show already. I just don't know that I don't know if being out there on the old tires is going to work out.
I mean, we saw it last week work out, and, you know, it was shorter distance than, you know, 18 laps, but we did see last week that it worked out partially until turn 4 on the last lap. But Dylan, you know, I talked to him before the race too, and he said he's going to be happy with the top 10. So what he's probably trying to do, he thinks that staying out here is going to net him a better finish than if he would have come into the pits. So his goal is to get a top 10. He's also in a must-win in order to get into the championship. So he could be going for the win, but he said he's going to be happy with the top 10 if he gets a top 10 tonight.
Well, either way, finally checking in over in the YouTube chat room. We do appreciate it. That's Stephen Dombrowski. It's great to have you joining us. Thank you so much for joining us over here in the very end of this one. I mean, we're just 17 laps to go. We've had Dylan Walterman, as Christian was just mentioning. He's excited. This is possibly his chance to snag a victory, and he's just like one of these other drivers out here, Slauson and the rest, who need that victory and punch their ticket in. Walterman's been kind of quiet for Harper Motorsports this season, but this would be the way to do it. Unfortunately, he's got a driver out there. I mean, it'd be different if it was like, you know, some other driver that hadn't been up there just dominating this race. But Brian Jones is about as formidable of an opponent that you want to see, and he's got fresher tires. So we'll see how this works out. Coming back to the green flag here on lap number 144.
Green.
We're green to go. Walterman gets a good run. I think Jones is going to stuff it in there in 1 and 2, and we'll see whether Walterman can hold on. Reeder tries to stick it on the high side. We're 3 wide into turns 1 and 2.
Reeder kind of had to do this. He has to get around Dylan as quick as he can to try to fight with Brian Jones, but Brian Jones going to have a better run than Reeder, and he's going to clear both of them going into turn 1 and 2, and now Reeder under fire behind with another 3 wide battle here. Sean Briscoe, Eric Sable, and Walterman 3 wide.
Well, just like we thought, Walterman 1st to 5th in the span of 1 lap. But guess who's out there in front? It's Jones. Reeder going to take that chance into turns 1 and 2. He's got to do it right now, Christian. You know he can't afford to let Brian Jones get out there into too much of a lead. Oh. He'll get sideways coming off the corner. Cody Reeder going to drift a little bit further back. Here comes Eric Sable up into 2nd place on that high side. And here comes Sean Briscoe taking a look Reeder as well.
Woo. I thought he was going to slide into Sable there. He was in a 4-wheel drift going into turn 3. That truck is not handling great for Cody Reeder. My goodness.
Well, Ronnie Norman starting to poke his nose into this picture as well back there in 5th place. But here comes Sean Briscoe to possibly take over that 3rd spot. Briscoe fighting hard on Cody Reeder. They bang
contact.
They bang fenders as they head down this backstretch. there. Cody Reeder gets down onto that curbing. Unlike Conover, does not drift up into the path of Briscoe and actually manages to hold on to that truck okay. So they stay side by side down this front stretch. This is for the final podium position and a chance to chat with none other than Christian Snyder in the Abbey Sweet Treats Home Bakery Victory Circle discussion. And you know what a prize that is. So Sean Briscoe trying to do it, but he can't get it done. As a result, there Ronnie Norman is entering the picture, and he's going to try to possibly give a chance of taking fourth place as well. And you see Torrance Shirts, he's now managed to close in on the back of this group. So it's very tight here as they head down this backstretch, this front stretch. Brian Jones in the lead over Eric Sable by a solid 0.4 of a second. And then you've got Cody Reeder, Sean Briscoe, Ronnie Norman, all very close to one another for this third spot. I tell you, Christian, I don't know who's going to have what it takes here at the end. This is a very tight battle. Still just 12 laps remaining.
Yeah, I think without a caution, I think Brian Jones has the best chance. But Sable is a good enough driver. He might be able to get up there and say something about that finish. But I think Reeder and Briscoe have been a little bit too busy battling each other to be a part of the conversation for the win if it stays green. But we've seen it in the past few weeks. There's been a lot of, late cautions that kind of shake things up. So we could see another caution here soon to make that shakeup happen.
We'll see. Either way, Sable's still staying pretty tight now. It's just 0.2 of a second, so this is closed up a little bit. But as you've said before, it's one thing to close in and get up there and close. It's another to get around. And so Sable may be able to get up there close to Jones, but he's going to have to do a ton of work to try to do what nobody else has really been able to do except on a restart, and that is to get around Brian Jones. A lot of work to do.
He's catching him.
He is catching him, though.
It was 0.4, and now it's 0.25 here, so he's catching him ever so slightly. But the story all night has been, you can catch him, but can you pass him clean?
Pass him clean indeed. Well, Brian Jones did not have to deal with Josh Conover. Conover making, I would say he made a mistake entering the corner, and then it was just sort of a racing deal where he slid up the track. But either way, Brian Jones able to avoid having to make that pass, and that's just, a big breath of air, fresh air for him, because Brian was not looking forward to have to put a wheel on Josh Conover and try and take that position, but he managed to put pressure enough on Josh, and as a result, Josh made a small misstep, and it ended up costing him quite a lot. In fact, as he's dropped to a lap down now, sitting there, actually 2 laps down. The first driver 2 laps down, or even a lap down, and there he pulls it back down. That's Josh kind of getting out of the way of the leaders, but he's going to pull it down onto pit lane, and I'm not sure if he may be done with tonight.
Yeah, he could be done. There's no one else that he could lose a position to, and there's no one he can gain a position to. So he's probably going to pull it in behind the wall and take his cuts from tonight and heal up this week and go back next week and try as hard as he usually does.
Well, these two seem to have first and second locked down. Here's Cody Reeder, Sean Briscoe. This fight has kind of stabilized back here. We've got 7 laps to go. We're going to see whether or not one of these drivers is able to put it together and manage to mount a little bit of a charge to head up forward. But Ronnie Norman, he's gained 5 spots here tonight, up into 5th place. And of course, Norman racing for the regular season championship as well. So, currently running in 3rd place. He will get some points over Josh Conover, who's ahead of him in that regular season championship.
He's actually racing for owners points, so he's running for that. He's in 9th place.
No, you're absolutely right.
In the owners, yeah. So he's trying to get into the top 5 in owners championship, but those points still do matter for owners.
And
As
Torn.
you can see, torn shirts, 6th, and Brad Fulham 7th. These guys kind of battling here. Brad might look underneath them here in the next few laps, but good run for Brad Fulham. He had an incident earlier where he was in the wall. He has rebounded for 7th, and then you got Bremkamp behind him, having a solid day in 8th place. And then further back, Slauson and Schroeder rounding out the top 10. So good run for all these guys here, but up front, we just got to see if Sable has enough here. There's 5 to go, coming to get 4 to go now as we cross the line. See if Sable's able to get anything done here for the win. Looks like the only battle on the track right now. Everyone kind of single file.
Well, we may see, this is Ronnie Norman getting very dangerously close to Sean Briscoe. We may see a last lap. Well, he was much closer there a moment ago. Looked like he backed off a little bit, but it's possible that one of these drivers may get close enough to try to make a move. Either way, it has been an absolutely fantastic run so far tonight. This has been a master drive from Brian Jones, and this looks like a championship-leading, championship-winning type drive here. This might be one that you circle on the calendar and say, he survived a couple of attacks. He managed to stay out of a truck that was in front of him that was kind of drifting up the track in Conover, and he managed to basically defend any attack from anybody, including Eric Sable. He had to work his way through some other trucks as well. Don't forget that. He was the one who gambled and came in, took tires, and then went out there and had to make the charge forward, and he managed to pass a lot of trucks coming forward, including Eric Sable and Cody Reeder, Sean Briscoe. Really difficult drivers to get around. So good stuff from him here tonight. Looking at some of these other battles still going on as it's just 2 laps remaining, but I don't think anyone else is really going to be in position to maybe make a challenge coming forward. Cody Reeder holding on to that 3rd spot. Sean Briscoe just behind, but again, so difficult to try to get position and make a move, especially when you're on these older tires. And now Brian Jones takes the white flag here, so just one more time around for Brian Jones. And I mean,
he needs a qualifying type lap here to make sure that he seals it. He doesn't want to step over the boundaries and get himself sideways, but he's got to push it as hard as he can to let Sable not have enough room, and he's not. So Brian Jones gonna win at Worldwide Technology Raceway, also known as Gateway, for the, I believe, 6th time this season, maybe 5th. Brian Jones in victory lane.
Awesome run from Brian Jones here tonight. Another championship night for Jones, and Sable bringing it home in 2nd place. Cody Reeder taking 3rd. Fantastic run from these drivers. So we're going to step aside here for just a moment. We'll catch our breath, and we'll be right back here on VirtualRacing.Network with your final results, as well as a chance to chat with our top 3, Brian Jones, Eric Sable, and Cody Reeder. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. It was another championship night for Brian Jones, for Brian Powell Motorsports. A fantastic run. Manages to take 2 different stages. Of course, the first one, and then the one that really counts, the one at the end. And taking victory here for round number 12 at Gateway, presented by Abbey Sweet Treats for the NORA Truck Series. Brian Jones, your victor. Second place to Eric Sable for the JRC Sim Team. Third for Cody Reeder of KPR Motorsports. Fourth to Sean Briscoe. Fifth to Ronnie Norman. Sixth to Torrin Shirt. Seventh to Brad Fulham. Eighth to Mark Bremkamp. Ninth to Todd Slauson. 10th to Craig Schroeder. 11th to Jacob Gladelich. 12th, Cody Dorsey. 13th, Zach Hollinger. 14th, Todd Schneider. 15th, Dylan Walterman. 16th, Christopher Heitz. 17th, Josh Conover. 18th, Andrew Staub. And we'll get a chance to see the rest of the order. 19th to Timothy Harper. 20th to Jason Conover. And 21st to Martin Plute. 22nd to David McGuire, and 23rd to Nick Geilis. And that is all of the runners here tonight. Geilis and McGuire and Martin Plute not really getting in a full night. Jason Conover also kind of tapping out about halfway through. Not the night that they were hoping for sure. So as we bring it back here to our race winner, Brian Jones. It was a heck of a run for him here tonight, but Cody Reeder, who, you know, by admission has not been having the best of the time up here in the Truck Series and not able to necessarily get all of the top podium finishes that he would like. Hey, he took third place here tonight, so why don't we go ahead and talk to him here and on the Abbey Sweet Treats Home Bakery Victory Circle discussion. We welcome in number 85, Cody Reeder for KPR Motorsports. Hey, a solid run here to third, Cody. We watched you all night move up and down the order. You were back there. You took fresh tires when nobody else did, and then you came up through the field. But either way, how did it feel tonight? It got really hot out there, and again, congratulations on your third place.
Thanks. Yeah, it was kind of an uneventful night. Just kind of chipped away and didn't have a best qualifying. I mean, I guess I started top 5, but yeah, that caution came out a couple cautions ago, and I just thought, well, I got good stage points at this point. If I don't do something different, I'm just going to follow in the rest of the race. So came down, got tires, was almost in a big wreck, but ended up, I don't know, it worked out for us. It's a solid night, P3, can't really complain. Wish I could get one of these wins here soon. It's been trying to really point my way in the playoffs. I don't really like doing that. I want to get a win.
Yeah, and that's one of the keys is that you're possibly with this finish, we'll have to see how it all works out with the points, but you finished ahead of the driver that was ahead of you in the points, which was Torrin Shirts back there in 6th place, so possibly able to overcome that deficit. But as you mentioned, it was kind of all about getting a win here tonight. And how far off do you feel of getting a win? Was it difficult to pass out there? What did you think was keeping you from getting up there into second or first?
Well, historically, this is a really good track for me, so I had pretty high hopes coming in here. In fact, this is the first ever league race I haven't won, so it's kind of disappointing at Gateway. But I don't know, just Brian. I mean, I think that as the run went on, I was pretty even with Eric, but Brian and Josh were just kind of different zip code, and it's not like I was burning more tires, because I mean they would pull me by at the end of the run maybe a second and a half or so, and we had the same tires as far as wear goes. So I don't really know. I think maybe I was charged in the entry. I couldn't get it really to turn the center, and I was spinning the tires off. So it's kind of what I was fighting all night. But yeah, I mean it was fine. Like I said, I'm not upset with third place. I get to talk to you guys, and hopefully get to point get in the playoffs so I can rest a little bit easier. But my goal is to win one of these. Hopefully that'll come soon.
Well, and again, as Brian Jones has won before, this is just one of those remaining races where a new winner doesn't occur. At some point, if enough new drivers can win races, there won't be a way to point your way into the playoffs. But at this point, it still remains a viable option, and you're that close to getting in. So congratulations on that. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we move on with the broadcast?
Yeah, thanks Garrett for spotting me as always. Thanks KPR Motorsports, Dustin. I think I'm assuming he's racing tomorrow, so good luck to him. Thanks guys for doing what you do in the booth, and everybody watching. Thanks.
Absolutely. Will we see you out there tomorrow night?
Negative.
Negative. Okay, well, too bad. We'll look forward to catching up with you next time. And hey, great run here tonight, Cody. We'll see you next time here on Virtual Racing.
Okay, thanks.
So that is Cody Reeder, driver of the number 85 for KPR Motorsports. He manages to take home third place. And so I think Christian has now had a chance to catch up with the driver of the number 9 car, Eric Sable.
Yeah, I was able to catch up with Eric here. Eric, you finished second here. Obviously, probably not the position that you wanted. But earlier in the race, it looked like you had an issue with Brian Jones and had a little bit of a moment on the front stretch. Was there anything that you could have done differently? And if you would have gotten to him, what would have happened?
Nothing really we can do differently. You know, this Snyder Graphics Mobile 1 Ford F-150 was pretty decent all night long, so you really can't pass the gateway. But, you know, with the little taint with Brian, it wasn't really a big deal. I think it was just hard racing. Then with Timothy Harper, it was another hard racing deal. A little overshot turn one a little bit, got into him, but I feel bad for that. But besides that, it's really, you know, just trying to work out with the tires, and you can't really pass, like I said, and just fall in line, and hopefully someone messes up and you take advantage of that state.
Well, we saw earlier in the night the track kind of, it started with cloud cover, and then it got increasingly hotter throughout the race. Was that kind of something you were dealing with throughout the race, with tires wearing off a little quicker toward the end?
Oh, tires were wearing off pretty quick all day long. It was pretty grippy at the beginning. You know, you'd be able to drive the truck a little harder in turn 1 and 2, and then not get loose. But as the run went on, you were just loose all over the place, getting on the throttle. You really had to baby it, especially with downshift in 1 and 2. You really had to be careful getting on the throttle. But yeah, I did what I could do. P2 I'm very happy with. Honestly, I was maybe a top 5, top 10 car, and I ran through the field there when I got that EOL. So I'll take what I can get after Charlotte last week and move on to Nashville here in 2 weeks.
Yeah, you brought it up there, Nashville coming up. Is that a good track for you? Do you think you maybe have a shot to win there and get your second win of the season?
You know, I'm really going to try my best to get that W again to make it number 2 for the season. Honestly, I haven't raced Nashville that much, but I know it handles almost like any other, I don't know if it's a mile track or whatever it is. But it should be a fun race with all these guys. Everybody races pretty good around here, so definitely looking forward to it.
Well, you're going to have a week off here, but anyone you want to give a shout out to before we continue on with the broadcast here?
Everybody on my team, Snyder Graphics for the awesome paint job. You know, everybody that puts this NORA League on, it's a fantastic time, week in and week out. So you guys for broadcasting. Broadcast is fantastic. I have my wife that watches the race every week, and she enjoys watching me. And if I wreck, she's like, God damn it, and you know. But yeah, it's all around fun time, and you know, best of luck to everybody else in this league. Everybody's a blast to race with.
It's been good watching you ever since you joined the league. You're a great asset to the league, and hopefully you're able to get another win here soon there.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Hopefully, I'll see you in 2 weeks here in Nashville.
All right, and Trevor, I believe you caught up with our race winner, Brian Jones.
Well, Brian, you know, it was sweet through a lot of this race. You were then looking at the backside of Josh Conover and trying to figure out how the heck am I going to get by this guy, and it seems like the Red Seas parted for you. You were able to take over the lead and never look back. Congratulations on a well-earned victory and quite a dominant display here tonight. Looking solid with this regular season championship.
Yeah, thanks, Trevor. It's I don't know. It started out really good, then it got kind of bad in the middle, and it got really bad, and then it got good again. But you know, that's not really how you want to win them. You know, reckon the guy who was in front of you. So you know, I guess we'll take it. But yeah, not ideal, I guess.
Well, and take us back to that moment. What did you see as far as how that worked? Did you feel like you got into him? Was it that he drifted up on you? We're now watching it on the screen here as you go side by side through the corner. What did you think?
Well, I haven't seen the replay yet, but so I hate to comment too much on, you know, what exactly happened. But from what I remember, I was on pretty fresh tires, I think I passed 4 or 5 cars coming up to that. I had quite a bit of a tire advantage on Josh, so I wanted to be patient there, but it's just the way it turned out. I was going down the back stretch, and I tried to get the inside position on because I had a little run coming off it too. He kind of blocks low, which is fine because I do that to him all the time. So I gave that to him and then went really high to try and get a wide entry. He had a very narrow entry, and it seemed like we kind of met in the middle. Again, I haven't seen the replay, so I'm not sure.
Well, either way, big incident that, of course, affected the outcome of the race, but certainly a long ways away from you pulling a pit maneuver and wiping him out or anything crazy like that. It looks to me like a racing incident, and he does, Josh, of course, does come down on entry and get onto that curbing and then start drifting up the track. So I think when you look at the replay, you'll see that it's not quite as clear-cut as you're making it sound, but either way, it doesn't take away from the type of performance that you had here tonight. Absolutely solid throughout. Of course, taking that first stage and then coming back and really holding on here through that second stage. Nobody was able to even get up close to you. Was there anything special you were doing to manage those tires throughout the race? Is that a secret you can give away? Was the heat, was there something special to do to try to keep the tires from cooking one side or the other?
Yeah, I don't think there's any real secret here. We compared tire percentages after I think the first or second stage, and we were all pretty much the same as far as tire wear. So I think it's just a matter of how you drive it, how you release the brakes, getting into the corner to make it rotate, just little things like that. But tire wear, not so much.
Well, and then coming back into it, of course, you've punched your ticket now. I was talking with Christian at the break. He thought that you had 5 or 6 wins in this series already. And, I mean, it just, Brian, it seems like you've had 5 or 6 wins because you have been leading the points. You've had so many great runs. This is just your second win here. But still, you already punched that ticket. What would it mean to you to take the regular season championship here in the NORA Truck Series?
Well, I think it'd be big time. Just for the points alone, the playoff points. I think you get like 15 or 20 playoff points, and that's big time come playoff season. Obviously, winning the regular season isn't any guarantee for the big trophy at the end. I think Josh has won maybe the past 2 seasons the regular season championship. And then once you get to Phoenix, things can just fall apart over there. So we've got to keep our eyes on Phoenix.
Well, one final question. When you were coming back to the green flag on this last restart, Walterman decided to not take tires, was out there kind of sitting. Did you think that he might be a factor and we might have a replay of last week with Slauson deciding not to come in and staying out there, and perhaps you're going to have to play a defensive or an aggressive attack on Dylan there coming to the line? Was that a surprise to see that the tires were in fact a massive factor and Walterman not able to hold you off?
Yeah, not a surprise at all. We saw earlier, I think, Martin Clute took 2 tires after the first caution just to try it out, and it was not the recipe for success here. So as long as Cody didn't get by him on the outside, which I knew he was going to try to do, and he did try to do it going into 1, as long as he didn't do that too much, I felt like I was going to be in a pretty good spot.
Well, it was a tight battle throughout the field. You had to work your way through a bunch of trucks when you took on those 4 fresh tires. Either way, nobody able to stop you here tonight. Any final thank yous before we close this one out?
Yeah, I want to thank you, Trevor. Thank obviously Josh Conover for running the league. It's a great league. I've been here for a few years, and it's a lot of fun to run every week with these guys. Also got to thank Cars and Bids. If you like cars from the 90s, 2000s, anything from the modern era, go to carsandbids.com. Get yourself a car today. Also, I want to thank Racing with Rich Energy. If you care about Formula One history and the 2019 Rich Energy Haas F1 team, you can go to richenergybook.com and pick yourself up a copy today.
Well, Brian, class of the field, you're leading the championship, and you're going out of here with another victory. We will see you next time out here. You're having difficulty getting out there for the Tuesday night Cup races. You're going to be out here tomorrow night?
I don't think so. I try to spend some time with my wife at least one night a week, so that's kind of Tuesdays right now.
Well, sad for us, but great for her. Either way, we'll look forward to the next time we get to see you out there on the track. It'll be in 2 weeks' time for the Truck Series. And just thanks for putting on a great show and being a great competitor, a great benchmark for everybody.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
So that's Brian Jones for Brian Powell Motorsports. He comes home with victory here once again. And this was just a sweet victory for Brian Jones. I mean, hard fought throughout, and, you know, of course, getting kind of given the position a little bit from Josh there, but aside from that, he had to race his way through everybody out there tonight. And, you know, this was a sweet victory. This was one to remember, and I'll tell you what, as we take a look here, and we get it queued up, I was trying to segue myself here, but it was a sweet victory, just like Abby's Sweet Treats. You see all of these cookies on your screen. Abby Sweet Treats, home bakery. You know, she's got what it takes to make whatever kind of cookies you want. There they are on the screen. They look so good. Mermaid cookies. I was seeing on her Facebook page, she's got all kinds of new stuff posted. You've got donut birthday cookies. They look like little donuts. For a baby shower. There's these little feed and baby bottles and all kinds of stuff. So if you're going to be expecting one soon, that's a great way to go. There's dinosaur cookies. What kid wouldn't love to get dinosaur cookies for their fun party? Mushrooms and fairies. I mean, I'm just saying I'm a grown-up kid. We're both grown-up kids. So either way, reach out to Abby over there in Plymouth, Minnesota. She'll ship them out to you. Just order a dozen or two. I think I saw $20 for a dozen. It's very affordable. Make sure you head on over on Facebook. You can just click. You can either search Abby Sweet Treats on Facebook, or you can click straight through on VirtualRacing.Network. If you're not already following us on Facebook, if you do the Facebook thing, the meta thing, head on over there and follow us as well, and then you'll get all of the updates of all of our upcoming events. And, of course, she's also on Pinterest. What a cool thing to pin to your board, Twitter, and Instagram. And I'll tell you what, this was actually a lot of fun tonight. We did see a lot of, we saw a lot of everything we were hoping. We saw strategy. We didn't see drivers having way too many problems like the Cup cars did. And we got to see a little bit of crunch on the new damage model for the trucks here. Christian, any final thoughts here tonight before we close this one out?
I mean, I'm just going to second what you said. I mean, it was a great race. We saw a bit of everything. We saw a lot of amazing battles, even for the stages. We were acting like it was the end of the race, but it was just the end of the stage. The way these guys were racing, it was basically for the win. I mean, it was a lot of good battles. We did see some wrecks, which is unfortunate, but you know, you have that in iRacing. And you know, we got to look forward to the future, man. There's only 4 races left in this regular season for NORA, and I tell you what, there's 4 guys that haven't won yet that still can. So I don't know how this playoff is going to shake up, man.
Well, and here, let's see if I can get this to work up here on the screen. There we go. There's a final look at the upcoming schedule. We've got Nashville Super Speedway. Yikes. That's going to be a really tough one for these guys to pass but should be a lot of fun, similar to this week.
Talk about tough to pass, Mid-Ohio, July 10th.
Well, and of course we get a chance to see, there's a nice mix of tracks, really. So from Nashville to a road course to Pocono, which is just a big old tri-oval. Or what do you want to call that?
Hometown track for me. Love that track. Oh,
it's the coolest, and you know, I'm a big IndyCar fan too. Of course, it was made for Indy cars, but it races so great for NASCAR and everyone else. Richmond Raceway, a great short track to finish it out there on the 31st of July. So we're going to be taking a 2-week break here until Nashville Super Speedway. We'll see you on June 26th. Of course, tomorrow night we will have the NORA Cup Series. And so you'll want to be here at 8:25 Eastern Time. On behalf of Brian Jones, our race winner, Eric Sable, our second place driver, and Cody Reeder, who finished tonight in third, as well as Christian Snyder in the booth here, and all of the NORA admin. And the competitors, I'd love to say thank you so much for joining us here in the YouTube chat room. We do appreciate it. And of course, we welcome you to come back and join us again. If you're not already subscribed, smash that subscribe button. Please like this video. You'll get a lot more of the VirtualRacing.Network in your mailbox. So with that, I'm going to close this one out. I'm Trevor Greenfield. You've been watching live iRacing on VirtualRacing.Network. We'll see you next time. Until then, have a wonderful night. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.